Hi friends,
It's Mrs. Townsend and Mrs. Townley.
we're so glad you joined us today.
Welcome to the Lesson Lantern. Today's lesson is Figurative Language, Understanding Similes and Metaphors. Our goals and objectives today are to understand the difference between similes and metaphors, to identify and explain the meaning of similes and metaphors in a text, and to explain how similes and metaphors contribute to our understanding of the text. You might have learned about different types of figurative language, so let's review. What is the difference between a simile and a metaphor? Similes are phrases that compare two unlike things using the words like or as. For example, in the sentence, "The lake was as smooth as glass," I am saying the lake is so still and calm, it looks like a piece of glass. A metaphor also compares two unlike things, but it does not use the words like or as. For example, in the sentence, "The lake was a mirror," the lake is not actually a mirror, but this comparison helps us visualize a very smooth, calm lake. Why do authors use similes and metaphors when they write? And why is it important for us to understand the meaning of similes and metaphors? Well, similes and metaphors are used to make writing more descriptive and to help us visualize a scene that we are reading. When I read the sentence, "It rained all day and the ground was very wet," I can picture wet ground, but I don't really know where this is taking place. A city street, a wet soccer field. But when I read this sentence, "It rained all day and the drops fell like tiny drums tapping on the roof," I can almost hear the rain in my mind. The simile helps me visualize being cozy inside my house on a rainy day. What do you think about when you read the sentence, "The puppy wagged its tail and ran around the yard"? How about when I read this sentence, "The happy puppy was a bouncing, fluffy ball of joy"? The author used a metaphor to help me visualize a puppy that is not just happy, but literally bouncing around the yard. Authors use similes and metaphors to make reading more interesting and more fun. Now we are going to practice identifying similes and metaphors in a text. We are going to read a short story, "The Last Leaf," together. While we read, we are going to look for similes and metaphors, discuss what they mean, and talk about how they can help us visualize the text. Let's get started.
The Last Leaf. Autumn came like a sleepy cat curling up in a warm blanket. The trees wore golden crowns, their leaves crisp and bright like toasted bread. Ellie walked home from school, kicking up piles of red and orange leaves, each one crunching under her feet like a potato chip. Pause the video and turn and talk. Is the author making any comparisons in this first paragraph? In the first sentence, I see the author compares Autumn's arrival to a sleepy cat curling up in a warm blanket. That's a simile. I can visualize Autumn arriving in a cozy, slow, warm way. Do you see the sentence comparing the leaves to toasted bread? That's another simile. Do you see one more simile in this paragraph? That's right, the leaves were crunching under her feet like a potato chip. In my mind, I can hear Ellie's boots crunching the leaves. Let's try another paragraph together. The wind was a whispering ghost dancing through the trees. Ellie's scarf flapped behind her like a flag in a storm. She glanced up at her favorite tree, a tall maple standing proud in her front yard. It was a lighthouse in a sea of falling leaves, still holding on to one last bright red leaf. Pause the video and turn and talk. Is the author making any comparisons in this paragraph? Let's see if you came up with the same examples we did. In the first sentence, I read, "The wind was a whispering ghost dancing through the trees." The author is comparing the sound the wind was making to the sound of a ghost whispering. But I don't see the words like or as in this comparison, so that is a metaphor. The very next sentence compares Ellie's scarf to a flag flapping in a storm. The author does use like in this comparison, making it a simile. Did you find one more comparison in this paragraph? If you found where the author compared Ellie's maple tree to a lighthouse, and you recognize that this is a metaphor, then you are correct. You are getting the hang of this. Now it's your turn to practice. Finish reading the last leaf on your own or with a partner. You will continue the process of finding similes and metaphors. You can underline them or make a list of what you find. As you read, think about the meaning of each simile and metaphor and how they help you visualize and understand the text. When you're finished, you can come back to our video to wrap up today's lesson and to think about it.
As we wrap up today, it's time to think about it. What is the difference between a simile and a metaphor? Why do authors use similes and metaphors in their writing? And how can similes and metaphors contribute to our understanding of a text?